Вот он. Твою мать. Блядь.
Shortly after midnight on December 17th, the quiet of southern Russia was broken by the sound of incoming drones. In the Slavyansk district of Krasnodar Krai, unmanned aircraft struck an oil refinery in Slavyansk-on-Kuban, turning an industrial facility into a night-lit landmark of fire and smoke. Reports began circulating on public channels just before 1:30, describing a series of explosions that residents said started around 0045. The pattern was familiar. Distant detonations, pauses, then another impact. Eyewitness footage posted online captured the decisive moment. A sudden flash followed by the low, heavy sound of an explosion. In the darkness, a bright glow spread across the skyline as flames rose from the refinery complex, suggesting a significant fire rather than a brief strike. Regional authorities later acknowledged that a drone attack had taken place overnight, confirming what residents already knew from sound and sight alone. By morning, the incident had moved from local chatter into official briefings. Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation claimed that air defenses had intercepted and destroyed 31 Ukrainian drones over the territory of Krasnodar Krai. The statement offered numbers, but little clarity on how many reached their targets. The facility struck belongs to the Slavyansk Eco Group, an oil refinery with a nominal processing capacity of roughly 5.2 million tons of crude oil per year. In practice, actual throughput in recent years has fallen below that figure. Since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the refinery has been hit multiple times by long-range drone attacks. Each strike has left behind fires, damaged technical equipment, and periods of disrupted operations. Taken in isolation, another overnight drone strike might appear routine. Seen in context, it reinforces a broader pattern. Energy infrastructure deep inside Russian territory is no longer insulated from the war. Facilities once considered safely beyond the reach of Ukrainian capabilities are now repeatedly tested, repaired, and struck again. The night in Slavyansk-on-Kuban followed that script precisely. Warning came not from sirens, but from explosions. Confirmation arrived not from officials, but from flames on the horizon. By daylight, the incident had been absorbed into statistics and statements, while the refinery joined a growing list of industrial targets that now sit firmly on the front line of a long-range attrition campaign. Overnight strike. Ukrainian Special Operations Forces destroyed a Russian BM-27 Uragan MLRS and personnel in Donetsk Oblast. Using FP-2 strike drones, SSO hit the launcher and its crew in Blahodatny and targeted Russian troop positions near Pokrovsk. These strikes matter because they hit the Russian war effort at its most sensitive point, the moment between detection and fire. A BM-27 Uragan is not just another vehicle on the battlefield. It is an area saturation weapon designed to overwhelm defenses and flatten positions in minutes. Removing it before it can fire breaks an entire chain of planned destruction. More importantly, this was not a blind strike. It shows Ukrainian forces are finding, tracking, and engaging high-value systems in real time, even close to the front. That kind of precision forces Russian units to disperse, hide, and delay, reducing the tempo of their operations around key sectors like Pokrovsk. The use of strike drones to eliminate both the launcher and its crew also amplifies the effect. Replacing hardware is costly, but replacing trained operators under constant pressure is far harder. Each successful hunt like this shrinks Russia's ability to mass firepower and turns what should be an offensive asset into a liability. Ukrainian defenders of the 127th Kharkiv Heavy Mechanized Brigade rescued 14 civilians, including a family with 3 children, from a basement in Kupiansk, Donetsk region. There were also 2 Russian soldiers in the basement, who were using civilians as human shields. The brigade's soldiers managed to eliminate them, after which 11 adults and 3 children were evacuated to a safe place.
Today, during assault operations in the center of Kupiansk, a total of 14 civilians were discovered in the basement of a multi-story building, among them a family with 3 young children.
The civilians were being utilized by the aggressors as a deliberate human shield.
They drove us into a pit where we all had to spend the night.
Who drove it in?
Russians.
They came and we, as it turned out, basically they told us to sit down.
Their task is to gradually occupy.
They knew that there were civilians present, and they maintained their position. Then they dispatched defensive forces, which...
He should run the house, but he took it on.
Well, in short, the dead would be lying. Everyone would be dead. Both them and us with them.
A battle took place with the occupiers. 2 enemy military personnel were eliminated.
And then, when we heard the guys start shouting, "Oh, surrender," my mom became hysterical. She said, "Let's yell that we're here." So we shouted, and thank God we survived.
Civilians have been evacuated by the forces of the 127th Brigade to a safe place.
A girl of 2 years old, a boy of 9 years old, and a boy of 17 years old. We met them, gave them food and drinks, and provided them with medical care. Everything with them is...
A little more.
Military 6, we want to give a truly enormous thank you to the 127th Kharkiv Brigade for saving our lives from certain death.
Russia has stationed 2 army corps, around 350 to 360,000 Russian soldiers, in Belarus, CDU politician Roderick Kiesewetter said. In an interview with NTV, Kiesewetter said this is causing concern in the West, especially in the Baltic states. Kiesewetter considers it naive to think that the recent meeting in Berlin will make Putin see reason, adding that, at some point, he will have to tell Russians the West is ready for war.
Because over the past 2 years, certain developments have been observed in Russia, but no one has dared to inform the population about them. What we are currently witnessing, that Russia has stationed 2 army corps in Belarus, that is around 350 to 360,000 combat-ready soldiers. This causes concern, especially in the Baltic states. And Putin militarily isn't exactly succeeding in the war in Ukraine, but through his war economy, he's training hundreds of thousands of soldiers who are not even being deployed there in Ukraine. He's upgrading weapon systems and also training personnel for them, which are not being used in Ukraine at all. Why is he doing this? He has a war economy, but I can only warn now against the naive belief that if they meet here in Berlin, Putin will simply see reason. He will eventually have to tell his population the West is now war capable, in quotation marks, to adopt a word from the Social Democrat Pistorius. Now, all of this was not worth it. As I fear that the next 2 years will be critical, 26 and 27. And if we get through them, through our defense capability, but also by not frightening our people, but saying, beware, this could be a threat, let's be careful, then we will have gotten through it. But the next 2 years will be the critical ones.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.